everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into another deep dive.
Absolutely, let's do this.
Today we're tackling something that's, well, let's be honest, not the most glamorous aspect of cloud computing, but man, is it important, right? We're talking about software licenses and SaaS subscriptions.
Yeah, definitely not as exciting as, say, the latest serverless technology, but trust me, these things can make or break your cloud budget if you're not careful.
For sure. And, we always talk about optimizing cloud costs, but software licenses and SaaS subscriptions, they're like those hidden costs that can really sneak up on you.
It's like that extra baggage fee you weren't expecting at the airport. You think you got a great deal on the flight, and then bam!
Exactly. So to help us unpack all of this, we've got a real expert in the house, someone who lives and breathes this stuff.
Happy to be here.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. For those who might not be familiar, what exactly is FinOps? I keep hearing that term thrown around.
Yeah, FinOps has become a bit of a buzzword lately. But essentially, think of it like this. It's like having a financial fitness plan for your cloud usage.
Got it. So it's about getting a grip on your cloud spending. But where do software licenses and SaaS fit into all of this?
Well, it's easy to get so focused on choosing the right cloud services themselves that we forget about the software that actually powers those services.
Right, like the engines under the hood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where licensing and SaaS subscriptions come into play.
Okay, that makes sense. So before we dive into the nitty-gritty, let's break down a key distinction here. Perpetual licenses versus SaaS subscriptions. What's the difference and why does it matter?
Sure. You know how you used to buy a physical music CD versus, say, subscribing to a streaming service like Spotify?
Yeah, back in my day.
Well, think of perpetual licenses like buying that CD. You pay for the software up front and it's yours to keep, like forever.
Like owning the director's cut DVD, even if you never watch the special features.
Exactly. Whereas SaaS subscriptions, they're like those streaming services. You pay a recurring fee to access the software over the internet. It's all about that sweet, sweet access.
So the way we pay for software is changing, just like how we consume music and movies these days. So how do we decide which model makes the most sense when we're talking about the cloud?
Well, there's no one-size-fits-all answer, unfortunately. It depends on a lot of factors, like your specific needs, how you use the software, how much you anticipate your needs might change.
Right, because the cloud is all about being flexible and scalable.
Right. Yeah, and that's where SaaS subscriptions can be super handy because they often offer that flexibility and scalability built in.
So let's say I'm sold. I'm ready to dive into the world of cloud-based licenses. Or I want to try out this amazing new SaaS product I keep hearing about. Where do I even begin? How do I buy this stuff?
Well, you have a few options.
Okay, lay on me.
The traditional route is going directly to the vendor.
Makes sense, so you can cut out the middleman.
Right. And this can be a good option, especially for larger organizations, because it might give you some bargaining power to negotiate better deals.
Right, because you're buying in bulk, essentially.
Exactly. But, and this is a big but, navigating those enterprise agreements can be a real headache. We're talking lots of legal jargon, fine prints. It can get messy.
So maybe not for the faint of heart. What are the other options?
That's where cloud marketplaces come in. They're like the app stores for your cloud provider.
So kind of like a one-stop shop for all your cloud software needs.
Yeah, exactly. They offer a really convenient way to browse and subscribe to different software and services. Plus, many cloud providers offer pre-negotiated pricing and flexible billing options through their marketplaces, which can save you a ton of time and hassle.
That's super convenient, but I imagine there are some downsides, right?
Of course. While cloud marketplaces are great for convenience and often have a wide selection, they might not always have every single software or service that your organization needs. Plus, the pricing and terms, even if they're pre-negotiated, might not be the absolute best deal you could get if you went directly to the vendor.
So, like most things in life, it's a trade-off.
Pretty much.
It's like trying to compare apples and oranges sometimes.
Totally.
Right?
And that's why it's so important to do your research, compare your options, and figure out what's going to work best for your organization.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've talked about what FinOps is, the different types of software licenses, and where to buy them. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, billing.
Yes, billing, where things can get a little, shall we say, interesting.
That's one way to put it. It often feels more like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded.
Huh. I feel that. You've got your per-user pricing, per-core licensing, tiered models where the costs change based on your usage. It's a lot to keep track of, that's for sure. And then there are those sneaky things called secondary cost meters, which can really trip you up if you're not careful.
Secondary cost meters. Okay, those sound a little intimidating. What exactly are we talking about here?
So imagine this. You launch this amazing new app feature, right? Everyone loves it. It's a huge success. But then you get your next cloud bill and bam, you're hit with this massive overage charge.
Ouch. What happened?
Well, it turns out that awesome new feature, the one everyone loves, led to a surge in API calls, which you didn't really account for.
So it's like you're getting dinged with these hidden fees, kind of like when you go over your data limit on your phone plan and have to pay extra.
Exactly. You think you have a good grasp on your costs, and then those secondary meters sneak up on you.
So how do we avoid these unexpected surprises? Is there a secret?
Well, the best defense is a good offense. You've got to really understand your contract terms, read the fine print.
So we're talking like get out the magnifying glass and really scrutinize those contracts.
Exactly. Pay close attention to those details, especially when it comes to renewals, those pesky true-ups.
And what about true downs? Is that a thing?
Well, here's the thing. Many vendors are more than happy to true up your bill if you need more licenses. They're happy to take more of your money, right?
Uh-huh. Naturally.
But when it comes to reducing costs, if you need to scale down, let's just say they're not always as eager to give you money back.
Because that would cut into their profits.
Exactly. They often have clauses in their contracts that lock you into minimum commitments, even if you're not fully utilizing all of those licenses you're paying for.
So it's kind of a one-way street.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom. There are definitely things you can do, strategies you can implement at different stages of your FinOps journey, if you will.
Okay, I like the sound of that. Tell me more about these strategies.
Think of it like a FinOps maturity scale. You crawl, then you walk, then you run.
Okay, love the analogy, easy to understand. So when it comes to software licenses and SaaS, what does crawling even look like?
Crawling is all about laying that foundation. It's about really understanding what you have, what software and services are you using, who is using them, and how much are you spending on all of this stuff.
So it's time to take inventory.
Exactly. Figure out what you have and where it is. It might not be the most exciting task, I'll admit, but it's essential if you want to gain control of your cloud costs.
I can imagine. Like cleaning out that junk drawer everyone has, there's good stuff in there, but you're a little scared to actually dig in and find out.
That's a great way to put it. Once you've tackled that inventory, then you can start exploring different purchasing options. See if you can snag some better deals, more flexible terms, things that really suit your needs.
Got it. So crawling is about visibility, getting a clear picture of your software landscape. What about walking? What does that entail?
Walking is all about optimization. Once you know what you've got, you can start fine-tuning, right? See where you can make your current setup work better for you.
So we're talking like diving deep into those contracts, seeing if there's any wiggle room to negotiate better rates, maybe adjust how we're using the software to avoid those nasty overage charges.
You got it. Think of it like tuning up your car's engine to squeeze out that extra bit of performance and fuel efficiency. Every little bit helps.
And I'm guessing just like with tuning up an engine, having the right people involved is key.
Oh, absolutely. This isn't a solo mission, that's for sure. We're talking serious collaboration here.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly. Your FinOps team, they've got to be tight with procurement, IT asset management, the engineering folks, even legal sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to get everyone on the same page, singing from the same hymn sheet.
Because at the end of the day, it's not just about cutting costs, right? It's about making sure the software and SaaS investments are actually giving you a good return rate.
100%. It's about making sure those tools are helping you achieve your goals, not holding you back.
Totally. So we've covered crawling and walking, getting a clear picture of what you've got, and then optimizing it. What about running? What does that look like in the world of FinOps?
Running is where you level up. It's about being proactive, staying ahead of the game.
So less reacting, more anticipating.
Exactly. Think automated provisioning, usage monitoring, those fancy dashboards that give you real-time insights into your software landscape. Imagine you can see exactly how those licenses are being used, if there are opportunities to save some money, maybe even get a heads up when it's time to renegotiate a contract.
Okay, sign me up for that dashboard. But how do we actually know if all these efforts are paying off? What are the metrics, the KPIs that tell us if we're winning at this whole FinOps thing?
Great question. KPIs are key here. They give us that concrete way to measure how we're doing. One of the most important ones is your license utilization rate.
So that's like how much of the software we're actually using versus how much we're shelling out for.
Exactly. If you've got licenses just sitting there unused, gathering dust,
Yeah.
well, Time to figure out why and what you could do about it.
Right, either put them to good use or maybe it's time to have a chat with the vendor and renegotiate that contract. So what other KPIs should we be keeping an eye on?
Compliance is a big one. Nobody wants a surprise audit from a software vendor. Talk about stressful.
Yeah, that's not on my bucket list.
By tracking your compliance, you can stay ahead of the curve, make sure you're not accidentally using more licenses than you're supposed to.
Better safe than sorry, right?
100%.
Mm.
And finally, we've got cost visibility. This is about having a crystal clear view of where your software and SaaS dollars are going.
So no more guessing games when it comes to the budget.
Exactly. This is where those spreadsheets and fancy FinOps tools really come in handy. By tracking your costs, analyzing that data, you can make those smart strategic decisions about your software and SaaS investments.
So instead of scrambling at the last minute to renew a contract, you'll have time to prepare, maybe even negotiate better terms or explore other options.
Exactly, and that's what FinOps is all about. It's not just about saving money, it's about taking control, making informed decisions, and setting your organization up for success in the cloud.
Love it. This has been super insightful. Really appreciate you breaking it all down for us.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
And to all our amazing listeners, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of software licenses and SaaS. Remember, knowledge is power. So keep learning, stay curious, and as always, happy optimizing.